Hello everybody, my name is Cuisine, and I'm very glad to be back here speaking with you all again. Today we're going to be discussing something very near and dear to my heart. We're going to be discussing foods that come from my Iraqi heritage. Now this is important to me because I myself am a chef, and as a chef I find it very important to bring the dishes from your culture along with you. Now, living in America, it is actually pretty easy to go out and find a diverse set of foods. You can get authentic Chinese food, you can get authentic Mexican food, you can even get authentic Thai food just about anywhere here in America. But can you say that you've had any authentic Middle Eastern food other than shawarma and maybe shish kebab? This is why I'm going to be speaking about this today. Middle Eastern foods are very different from the typical American palate, and thus it can be very hard to find them somewhere. However, they are very delicious, and I implore you all to try them. Now, some Iraqi foods that stand out to me are lam biajin, bamia, and klecha. Growing up, my father and my grandfather would constantly cook these for me in order to show me my culture and give me a little taste of what it's like to be Iraqi. Now, the first dish we're going to be discussing is lam biajin. This is a cracker-like dough with a mixture of ground beef, tomatoes, herbs, and spices placed on top. It is then baked, and when it is finished cooking, it is topped with a little bit of lemon juice before serving. Now, due to being a cracker-like dough with the ground beef mixture placed on top, it is colloquially known as Iraqi pizza, which is a pretty easy way to remember it. Now, although my father's version of lam biajin will always hold a very special place in my heart, the best I've ever had was when I was visiting Strasbourg, Germany. I met a couple Iraqi immigrants that had opened their own little food stand where they were selling lam biajin, and it blew my mind. This just goes to show that no matter where we go, us Iraqis will always bring our culture with us, and we will be there to show people just how good it is. Now, the next dish we're going to be discussing is known as bamia. Bamia is a stew typically made with pork, tomatoes, and okra. Now, the stew is then poured over rice and served hot. Now, this is one of my personal favorites. Me and my family, we had this about once every 2 weeks. But it's not just my family. According to USARice.com, the per capita rice consumption in Iraq is over 90 pounds a year. This shows how important rice is to Iraqi cuisine, especially for dishes such as bamia. Now, something that's pretty interesting about this is in the world of cooking, it is actually encouraged to find stuff such as bamia, a age-old traditional recipe, and to find your own variation of it in order to improve it. That is the spirit of cooking. And one thing that many people do is they add this light pasta known as vermicelli to their rice before pouring the bamia over. Many people agree that this improves the texture. In the words of the great Israeli chef Yotam Ottolenghi, rice and vermicelli is a common combination in Arab and Turkish cooking. It has a lighter texture than rice on its own. This shows that although this is a small variation that someone came up with, it has become pretty much normalized, as it is a good variation. Now, the third main point we're going to be discussing is this will satisfy your sweet tooth. This is klecha. These are small cookies made with a filling made with cardamom and dates, which is a kind of fruit that is extremely popular in the Middle East. According to Hamda Gobaj, dates account for about 60% of the fruit and vegetable trade in the UAE. This shows just how important it is and just how just about everybody in the Middle East is eating these dates. Now, apart from dishes like this and just everyday diets, dates actually hold more significance than one might think. The prophet of the Islamic religion, Muhammad, once said, "Whoever has 7 ajwa dates every morning, he will not be harmed on that day by poison or by magic." This shows the cultural importance that dates hold. Aside from their relevance in dishes like this, simply consuming dates can even be considered holy in the Middle Eastern, because that is how important it is to us. Now, although these three are not the only things that Iraqi cuisine has to offer, these are some of my favorites. Lam biajin, bamia, and klecha, all three of them, I implore you all to go out and try them. If you really have only had shawarma, or maybe you've never tried Middle Eastern cuisine at all, you now know what you are missing out on. If you do try this, it will expand your palate and show you flavors that you have never experienced before. So I implore you all, please, try some Iraqi food. Thank you very much.